Our work is among the citizens of the United States, basically as citizen diplomats. Okay, so we reach out to people, and those people are the people who get involved in electing the political leader, whether the president of the United States or Congress member, House and Senate member. The more we educate people about the Palestinian struggle, the more we educate people about the daily living of the Palestinian people, going through checkpoints and going through the wall and experiencing an amazing experience when it comes to going to school and continue their educations and the threats to their lives and so on, the more we succeed here in the United States.
Building bridges between people and enhancing the spirit of friendship should be the slogan and practice of everybody, community, and nation. And this is what the Palestinian community in the United States is materializing through citizen diplomacy. Dr. John Dabeet, Palestinian American elected member of the Sister Cities International Board of Directors in Washington, D.C., is joining us to talk about citizen diplomacy and how we can use it in order to build the bridges between the people of Palestine and the people of the United States. It's nice to have you on our program, Dr. John Dabeet.
Nice to be with you on your program today and to talk about a very important concept, which is the citizen diplomacy.
Yes, and that's why I want you, if you please, to explain what we mean by citizen diplomacy and how we can, through which, build the bridges between peoples in different parts of this world.
That's a great question to start with. Citizen diplomacy is another term for something called people's diplomacy. In 1956, President Eisenhower in the United States noticed that the political diplomacy failed very big. And he came up with the concept of people's diplomacy and citizen diplomacy, in which you connect people with people in different countries and let them talk to each other, let them understand to each other, and let them work with each other for the benefit of both nations. So since then, 1956 till now, the Organization of Sister Cities International was established in Washington, D.C. At this moment, we have a relationship between United States and almost 140 countries, including Palestine, in which we have 5 sister cities relationship between 5 cities in the United States with 5 cities in Palestine. In 2015, I was elected to, for the first time, to sit and serve on that board in Washington, D.C. And as a Palestinian American, I was given right away the authority to establish what we call a U.S.-Palestine Sister City Relationship Network. I became the representative of Palestine on Sister Cities International. And I want to remind everybody with our mission as an organization. The organization mission is to offer people of each city and of similar cities in other nations opportunities to get acquainted, to understand one another as individuals, as members of their community, as citizens of their country, and as a part of the family of nations.
Yes.
So this is our mission, and this is what we try to achieve, as a matter of fact, in bringing people from different countries together to understand each other, to work with each other, and to achieve the unachievable.
Yes, and talking about this project, connecting 5 Palestinian cities with 5 American cities. What aspects of cooperation do these cities have together? And how, from your own perspective, Dr. Dabeet, how this project proceeds? Are you satisfied with the results of this relationship and this connection between the Palestinian cities and the American cities you mentioned?
First of all, am I satisfied? I will never say yes, because I will always seek to have more relationships between U.S. cities and Palestinian cities. So having only 5 relationships is a good start, but it's not enough for us. My dream is to see every city and every village in Palestine have a twinning partner city in the United States. So that's part of the question. Well, in terms of our work since 2015 till now, we achieved different relationships. We worked on several projects, some of them educational projects, some of them has economic development seasoning to that project, some of them just bringing, for example, delegates to come and visit Palestine and see Palestine firsthand and experience everything that the Palestinian people experience on a daily basis. The purpose of the gathering this month is to bring those 5 cities from each side and let them, first of all, think of what they did so far, and next, putting some sort of a plan to how we're going to proceed from now and what kind of projects we want to work together with in order to benefit both sides and in order to bring people together to work together. For example, let me give you an example.
Yes.
In 2013, I asked our students here in middle school in Muscatine, Iowa, where I live, to participate in an art kind of work that led to become mainly an art show. And we said to them, how do you see your city? And at the same time, we asked Ramallah's kids, how do you see your city? Can you put that in an art piece? Can you draw something? And we called that exhibition My City. And then what we did is I took the artwork of our students here in Muscatine, Iowa to Ramallah, and we displayed that work with the Ramallah student. It was an amazing, amazing event that day at the Garden of Nations in Ramallah. And then what I did, I took all the work back with me with the delegation that came with me to visit Ramallah, and we brought it back to Muscatine, Iowa, and we displayed the work of our kids and students in Muscatine and Ramallah at the museum center in Muscatine. And we invited people to come and see the work of both sides, kids, that speaks about their cities using art. And I will tell you, from the Ramallah side and from the Iowa side, we got very encouraging messages that led to people, adults, and people of different ages to understand a lot of things about both cities through art. So this is a simple thing. During that particular visit to the city of Ramallah, we had 5 people from the Citizen Diplomacy movement visited Ramallah with me. And we met with the mayor of Ramallah, with the city council. We met with the heads of different organizations, the Chamber of Commerce and schools and education and different parts of the city. And that kind of communication led to, for example, after that, a major project, in which we brought 5 teachers from the city of Ramallah to receive an intensive training in special education here, and then they return back to Ramallah. And the intention is to share what they learned in their visit here to our city here in Iowa, Muscatine, Iowa, with the rest of the teachers there and train them on the same kind of work. So
Dr.
this
John.
is a kind of an example that we can
Yes.
talk about that brings people together and get them to understand each other better.
Yes, you're talking about connection between 5 cities from Palestine, 5 cities from the United States, and this started since 2015. Is there now a plan or an item on your agenda to expand the project and include other Palestinian cities, not only the 5 ones you talked about?
Yes, that's the hope, is to include every city in Palestine and twinning every city in Palestine with a city in the United States. The hope is to bring them around the table and get them to talk to each other. And as they started to talk to each other, they understand each other. When they start visiting each other, they see the daily life of the Palestinians, citizens in Palestine. They will basically learn a great lesson by visiting Palestine, and then they come back and becomes our ambassadors to talk about Palestine and what they experienced there. They talk about the people, they talk about the culture, they talk about the traditions, they talk about everything that they experience and see on their visit to Palestine.
Yes, and
so that is
Dr.
very
Dabeet,
important.
yes, now the aim of the project is to get people to know each other and understand each other more, okay, and building this kind of bridges. While when the people from the United States cities come to Ramallah and to other Palestinian cities and see the separation wall built by Israel and see the checkpoints and the apartheid system with all its features, and they go back to their cities, what impression they have? What do they tell you about their visit, being here and watching all this here in Palestine?
Well, this is, I will say, that visit will be considered a great visit. They see in their eyes the daily living of the Palestinian people under the Israeli occupation. And as they see it, because it's not something you can hide. I mean, when we take them from city to city, when we visit places, they are experiencing, again, the checkpoints. They are experiencing the apartheid wall. They are experiencing all these things that Palestinians are experiencing on a daily basis. It does make it different. It does make it different in a way so that when they go back, number one, they say, I cannot wait to go back and visit Palestine again. Number two, they will start talking about it. They share their experience with others. And with what we call the citizen diplomacy and public diplomacy, these are things that are very important when we bring people to visit and they see that when they come back to the United States, that they will share those stories with their family members, with their friends. And in some cases, they even write about it in the newspapers too. So I think those visits have a very great value, an amazing value on everyone that visit Palestine.
Yes, and
because those
and in this context, Dr. Dabeet, and this is going to be my final question to you, how we can transform public diplomacy into a platform through which we can affect the political view and the political position of the American administration towards the Palestinian cause, to recognize the suffering of the Palestinians under the Israeli occupation and to pressure the Israeli government to end its occupation and enable the Palestinians to have their rights back?
Thank you. That's a great question. Our work is among the citizens of the United States, basically as citizen diplomats. Okay, so we reach out to people, and those people are the people who get involved in electing the political leader, whether the president of United States or Congress members, House and Senate members, the more we educate people about the Palestinian struggle, the more we educate people about the daily living of the Palestinian people, going through checkpoints and going through the wall and experiencing an amazing experience when it comes to going to school and continue their educations and the threats to their lives and so on, the more we succeed here in the United States. Because let's face it, at the end, those people are the people who go and vote for whether the president or Congress members and Senate members, even at state level. Those are the people who also vote for the legislators at each state. So that's why I think the public diplomacy and citizen diplomacy is becoming one of the most important kinds and types of diplomacy that we have to lean on in order to educate the American public about the Palestinian history and the Palestinian narratives and story.
Dr. John Dabeet, member of the Sister Cities International Board of Directors in Washington, D.C. It has been a great pleasure having you on our program. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for watching.
My pleasure.
And goodbye.